The killing of the Nemean lion granted Heracles legendary status throughout all of Greece. Some even worshipped him as a god. Yet for him, it was only the beginning. Glory had not cleansed the guilt of his appalling crime. If anything, the very notion of redemption felt further than ever. His return to Tiryns was met with awe and suspicion. Now heavily fortified, the palace echoed with a new sense of unease. King Eurystheus, rattled by Heracles' first labour, had tripled the guard. But all knew that if Heracles willed it, the king would already be dead. No amount of soldiers or weaponry could prevent that. The hero was escorted to the throne room, his lion skin casting long shadows behind him. Eurystheus sat brittle and tense, masked in bravado on his throne, yet the scent of his fear was potent. The king's herald, Coprius, offered a silent omen to cement Heracles' fate. He held up a bowl of writhing snakes, and the message was clear. Journey to Lake Lerna and face the monstrous beast said to lurk there, a many-headed serpent of unfathomable size. And so Heracles, without a single word, departed on his quest. He knew he would either defy the odds and defeat the horrific beast, or he would perish in the attempt and find peace, knowing he died trying to right a dreadful wrong. As Heracles journeyed on, the putrid swampland swallowed all sound. Mist clung to the reeds with each of Heracles' slow and careful steps, unaware that his nephew Iolaus followed in the distance. As night descended, the Hydra erupted from the depths of the swamp, the monstrous spawn of Typhon and Echidna, its heads shrieking in unison, venom swirling, scorching the air. Heracles fought with fury. Arrows loosed, sword swung with might. As he sliced one of the monstrous heads from its monstrous body, Heracles could sense victory. But to his dismay, more spitting, venomous heads grew back from the gruesome stump. Again and again, the cycle persisted until more than 20 heads lashed and hissed in a living storm. Not satisfied that the task was impossible enough, the goddess Hera sent another awful terror into the fray, a crab of colossal size with more armour than an entire battalion. The monstrous creature charged, clawing through sludge and shadow. Heracles turned just in time to stop a gigantic claw from clasping shut around his neck. The fight was brutal, the swamp churning with blood and filth with each deadly clash. And finally, using all of his strength, Heracles wrestled the foul crustacean to its death beneath the dark, putrid water. But the struggle left Heracles weakened. With no time to curse the gods for their cruelty, he stared up as the Hydra loomed, its venomous breath curling around him like fog. But then, from the gloom, Iolaus stepped forward to help his uncle when he needed it most. A plan was forged, and Iolaus' torch lit the way. With each head that Heracles severed, renewed by his nephew's presence, Iolaus sealed the wound with fire, cauterizing the heads before they could return. Their synchronized rhythm of blade and flame wore the monster down. An eerie silence fell as the Hydra lay dead. Heracles kneeled by the corpse and dipped his arrows into its poisonous blood, forging weapons that one day would be cursed by the gods themselves. Now, all that remained of the hideous creature was the immortal head that twitched and writhed in Heracles' firm grasp. Together, Heracles and Iolaus returned to Tiryns, carrying the gruesome, living trophy. Eurystheus, commanded by Hera, declared that the labour would not be counted amongst the 10. After all, he declared, the tasks were for Heracles to complete alone. Fury surged within Heracles as he launched towards the king in a blood-fueled mist. Aeolus became the only barrier that stopped Heracles' fist from crashing through the king's trembling skull. Listening to the wisdom of his young squire, Heracles relented and instead dropped the vile, immortal head at his cousin's feet. It spat and writhed on the palace floor, causing Eurystheus to reel back and screech in terror. Heracles and Aeolus left the palace, listening to the high-pitched wails of the king fading in the distance. No matter what, Heracles knew that he had to look forward. The journey was far from over, but Heracles swore that never again would he be cheated by the gods, not without a river of blood being spilt